And he thinks that's proving his case. But I like to jump with you because I need exercise to burn calories. So here's what you misquoted. You quoted John 10, 34, 35. But you didn't give me the context. I'm going to give you the context. You ready? You ready for me to give you the context, which you didn't want?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you that in that context, Jesus is claiming to God, the Son of God, one with the Father, if you read context. Now, JP, do me a favor. Read John 10, 27, 28. Let's break it down, which he didn't do because he thought playing the Dawa script, going to Muslim websites. Yeah, show them John 10, 34, 35. Okay. John 10, 27, 28. Read that slowly for us.
My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give eternal life to them, and they will never perish ever, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them
right there, before you go to 29. I want him to listen to what Jesus said. My sheep hear my voice. I want him to hear it because I'm going to ask you a question and see if you're really listening or you're already anticipating the objection. My sheep hear my voice. Mute yourself so I don't hear static. I'll let you know when to answer. So believers are his sheep, hear his voice. In my hand, and I give them eternal life. I give them eternal life. I personally give them eternal life. Now, I'm going to show you what Jesus said, the Old Testament says, is only what Yahweh can do. Jesus says, they're my sheep in my hand, right? Hear my voice. I give them eternal life. No one delivers out of my hand. Now, slowly, go to Deuteronomy 32, 39. Pay attention to what Jesus said and what Yahweh says. Deuteronomy 32, 39. Deuteronomy 32, 39.
And I've got one more question after this too.
Okay, hold on, Michael. Let me just deal with this guy because I wanted to answer your questions. But let me deal with this guy because this guy thinks he's onto something. See, Peter by the Spirit. All right, yeah. Never heard that one. Okay, Deuteronomy 32, 39.
See now that I am he, and there is no God besides me. It is I who put to death and give life. I have wounded, and it is who I heal. It is I who heals, and there is no one who can deliver from my hand.
Now, I want you to pay attention because I'm going to ask you a question. Here Yahweh says, there is no other God who can do what I do. I'm the one who gives life. None can deliver out of my hand. Pay attention to that. Because Jesus says, I give eternal life, none can deliver out of my hand. Pay attention. Now go to Psalm 95, 6 to 7. I want to see how much he's paying attention. So when he answers my question, we'll go to his next passage. Because usually they don't listen. They want to argue. They're not listening to the answers. But we'll see. Maybe he is an exception. Psalm 95, 6 to 7. And watch here. Read for me. Remember, Jesus says, guys, I want you to hear. Jesus said, my sheep in my hand hear my voice. I give them eternal life. None can deliver out of my hand. We're going to see what Jesus was claiming to be. That's why the Jews got it right. Psalm 95, 6 to 7.
Let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Yahweh our Maker, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you hear his voice.
Now pause right there, Uncut. Now I want this man to hear. It says, the believers are the sheep of Yahweh's hand, in his hand. They are to hear his voice. Jesus said, they are my sheep. Hear my voice in my hand. No one can deliver out of my hand. I give them eternal life. So I want you to be paying attention because I'm going to ask you a question. Now go to Isaiah 43, 13. Let's see if you're getting it. Then we're going to see how honest you are. If you're not honest, you're wasting my time and yours. Isaiah 43, 13.
Even from the eternity I am he, and there is none who can deliver out of my hand. I act, and who can reverse it?
None can deliver out of my hand. I make alive. My sheep hear my voice in my hand. None can deliver out of my hand. Now let's go back and reread what Jesus said. Now let's see. John 10, 27, 28. Reread. Now let's see. Remember, Yahweh says, my sheep, my hand, my voice. None delivers out of my hand. I give life. That's what Yahweh said. Let's see what Jesus said. John 10, 27, 28. Look what he says.
Okay. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give eternal life to them, and they will never perish ever. And no one will snatch them out of my hand.
Now I'm going to test how honest you are. The Jews are listening. You're going to see their reaction. I'm going to come to the Jews a little later, which you didn't quote for me. Let's see how honest you are. A Jew who knows the Old Testament heard this Jew say, my sheep, my voice, in my hand, I give them eternal life, meaning I'm the one who's going to cause them to live forever. No one can deliver out of my hand. In light of all the verses we just read, let's see how honest you are. What Jesus said in the Old Testament, the things he said are ascribed only to who? Let's see how honest you are.
Okay. You know, like David was a shepherd as well. He
You
was the
didn't hear
king.
that's not the
No,
question.
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is, I know what you mean. Like, for example,
we go.
since David was king and shepherd, it doesn't mean David is God.
That's not the argument, because
Okay,
David never
okay.
said,
Well, the point I'm saying
David
is,
never said, no one can deliver them out of my hand and I
yeah,
give them eternal life. Answer the question. I'm going to send you to Mecca. I'm going to ask you again.
I
In
like
light of the Old Testament, you want to go to Mecca, right? I'll pay for it.
no, 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 no. Okay, okay. You know how?
You're not answering the question.
No,
Let's
no,
try.
because no, I'm actually okay, Shaman. This what I'm saying is like, for example, Jesus said, if anyone receives you, receives me. If anyone receives me,
Yeah,
receives
don't go
God.
to that. You didn't answer the question. I
So,
want to try it a third time before we strike you out.
okay,
Yahweh said, I
yeah,
make alive, none can deliver out of my hand.
yeah,
That's what Yahweh said. They're
yes,
the sheep in my hand, meaning under my care.
yeah.
Jesus says, my sheep in my hand hear my voice. I give them eternal life. No one can deliver out of my hand. Show me where David said, no one can deliver out of my hand, and I give them eternal life.
There's nowhere David
Okay,
said
so
that.
can you now be honest and admit to me that what Jesus just said here is what the Old Testament only said about Yahweh?
Yes, similar,
So
the same thing. What I'm saying is,
that's first step. Now we have
okay,
honesty.
yeah.
But now let's finish it. Now we're going to go next step. Now mute yourself because the mic. Now read 29 and 30. Now
All
we're
right.
now you're making me happy. Now you're being honest. Now 29 and 30.
My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of the Father's hand. I and the Father are one.
Now the verb are is esmin. We are one. So he's not the Father. I'm his son, but we are one. Now in the context, I'm going to second test to see how honest you're going to be. He says, no one can deliver out of my hand. No one can deliver out of my Father's hand, meaning no one can stop the Father and I from preserving the sheep to live forever. And we are one. In what sense did he just say he's one with the Father? Let's see how honest you are. Let me repeat again before you answer. No one can deliver out of my hand because there is no power equal to mine, let alone greater, to stop me from preserving believers. No one can deliver out of my Father's hand because he's almighty. And we are one. One in what sense?
In the sense that he said earlier, make them one as we are one.
No, that's John 17. Don't run there. I want to bury you with John 17.
Okay.
In the context, let me repeat it a third time, because I think you like three, because you want to be a Trinitarian. No one can deliver out of my hand. No one can deliver out of my Father's hand. And that's when he says, why? Because we're one. One in what sense?
They're in unity. They're
In what sense are they united?
They're in bond. They're bonded together.
Well, what sense are they bound? Let me repeat it a fourth time.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And because Jesus proceeded forth from the Father, so he has
let me repeat
the
it a
essence
fourth
of the
time.
Father. Yeah.
No one can deliver out of my hand.
Yes.
Meaning my power. No one can deliver out of my Father's hand power. And in that sense, we are one. One in what sense? I just gave it to you. I want to see if you're listening.
In essence?
Okay, you answered. So if the Father and the Son are equal in their power and ability, well, if Jesus is a creature, he cannot be equal to the Father in essence and ability, which is why the Jews understood this man just made himself out to be God. Now let's read 31 to 33, which you did not read for me. 31 to 33.
The Jews picked up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, I showed you many good works from the Father. For which of them are you stoning me? The Jews answered him, for a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make yourself God.
Now, do you understand the Jews who know the Old Testament, why they concluded that? Then we're going to go to your verses, because now you quoted 34. I'm going to explain it, but I want to take you step by step. Did you now understand why they assume this man, a man, made himself out to be God? Do you understand why they thought that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Jesus always walked in so much close relationship and always calling
No.
God his Father. They were jealous and they
No.
think he's crazy. And
Let me correct you again. No. Why did they think in this context, here's a man who's claiming to be God, which they could not accept? I gave it to you, but I want to see if you're listening. Why?
Okay, if you noticed his answer, he said, "Whom the Father has sanctified," because I said I'm the Son
No,
of
you
God.
jumped to John 10:36. Don't do the tap dance. I'm going to get you there. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to shish kebab you fine, but I want you to first answer. Why did they think that Jesus here, a man, claimed to be God? Because he didn't come out and say, I am God. He didn't say that, but they realized, though he didn't say I am God, he just made himself out to be God, though he's a man. Why?
Being a man, make yourself God. So in their
Why?
perception, because he has such a close relationship, not ordinary relationship like they have.
No, that's not it, man. Let me try it a fourth time. I just went 15 minutes on what he
Okay.
said, 27, 28. You forgot all that?
My ship. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I read. See,
Okay. So why did they think he was claiming to be God?
because are you saying because he said the same words that were said in the Old Testament? Is
I
that what
want to kiss your balding head. You got it.
my head is not bald.
Well, you got it. Now you're being honest. Now I like it.
No. We're discussing.
Now you got it. I like it. See, because they're Jews, they know their Old Testament. They're whoa. Yahweh said, none can deliver out of his hand. Yahweh said he makes alive. Yahweh said, we are his sheep in his hand, we hear his voice. But you're a Jew and you said, believers are your sheep, they're in your hand, they hear your voice, you give eternal life, none can deliver out of your hand, but you're not the Father. How dare you? Now we got it.
Okay.
You want to understand 34, 36? Now you want me to break down?
Shalman, yeah.